Órale!
Sí, señor.
Bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFP podcast. We are live on YouTube, Familia. Please make sure to give us a like and subscribe if you're out there watching, listening, whatever. And if you got any questions or anything, throw them in the comments. We will answer them during the show. Familia. It's can you smell it? Playoffs. So last week felt a little bit like the appetizer.
Like
I think we all complained that the games were
like the ones that give you a stomach ache, because there were some stomach ache games there, man. Like, wow.
Ay, Dios mío.
It was like you needed Pepto-Bismol because they were all blowouts.
Yeah, you needed some Gas X for those blowouts.
Oh, it's no small wonder why I love my familia. Oh my God, this is awesome. This is awesome. Oh, geez. Well, but that's the thing. It's the games were so ugly, but I really think that there's that what's happening is a preview of things not to come.
Right.
Because this is about 20 years ago. I was reading Sports Illustrated, and Peter King called this the best football weekend of the year. You got the best 8 teams. I really feel like we have the best 8 teams going against each other this weekend. Got all the good teams at home. You know, now, heck, Nico called me earlier today asking me what some of my thoughts were on the bets today. So I'm going to start off a little bit cold before we get into the DFS options. What are your kind of calls this weekend?
Well, one thing that I was looking at the games, I was thinking long and hard because as you get into these playoffs, these are during the season you can kind of play a little bit easier because these guys are terrible on D, or these guys rank number 28 against the run. Once you get into the nuts and bolts of the playoffs, like these teams don't really suck in any of the major areas. These teams, if they got this far, is because they know how to play and they play well. So it's a little bit harder, when you're making your bets here to make those calls. The one thing that stands out, obviously, we're going to be talking about is Jimmy G's thumb in the cold. So I just because of that, whether he's 100% or obviously he's not going to be 100% because he already jacked it up. He jacked it up again, and he hurt his shoulder. So I like the Packers. I like the Packers at home anyway. So I think they're coming on the board right now. -6. So I like that. And of course, I'm a believer in I'm the champion until I'm not. Patrick Mahomes has been to the Super Bowl 3 of the last 3 years or something crazy like that, or 3 of the last, I don't know. He's there a lot, right? Patrick Mahomes is in the Super Bowl a lot. So the guy knows how to get there. This is the time of year where he's just zoned in like laser Kobe Bryant style, Tiger Woods style kind of focus where nothing rattles Patrick Mahomes, and he's got the weapons around him to make something big happen. So I like KC. They're -2, but I like them. They're at home. We saw Josh Allen last year in the playoffs kind of choke a little bit. So I remember that. So I although Josh Allen, I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. I don't anticipate a choke job. I just think that what I know of Patrick Mahomes. Sorry, I like KC to squeak it out. I think they win by. I think they cover them the 2 points.
I think you guys are good, really good friends. You can call him Pat. That's cool. Jimmy G, him and I are tight, We both look a lot alike, so that's why they call me
Tyrone
Jimmy
Power.
G
Tyrone Power, Jimmy G.
Yeah. But yeah, you can call him that. That's cool. I'm sure he's cool with that now, so it's good.
Those are the ones that stand out to me. Like when I'm looking at the whole board, I like those 2 picks.
And what about the other 2 games?
Well, let's take a look. Bengals. I mean, the Bengals are on a roll, man. And I know the Titans defense is good, but they have, AJ Brown there, and yeah, they have their running back. What's his name? I keep forgetting his name all the time.
Well, because he hasn't been around. Derrick Henry.
Deontay Foreman.
Deontay Foreman.
Yeah. He's been picking up the pace a little bit, picking up the slack after Derrick Henry left. But I don't know, man. The Bengals just look ready. They're just clicking on all cylinders. Their defense is strong. So I like the Bengals there. Tennessee's favored. Take the Bengals plus 3.5 all day. I like that play.
Wow.
Even though sometimes a good defense beats or a good offense can beat a good defense. We've seen it before, and I just think the Bengals have too much firepower, and they're going to overwhelm the Titans. So that's my call on that game. The other game, who do we got? Rams Bucks. Oh man, I don't bet against Tom Brady, so that's all I got to say about that.
Ooh, that's eso es duro. Eso es duro.
That's all you can say. Still got Gronk. Gronk's looking spry still. The running game last week was surprising. I mean, they did. Giovanni Bernard and Keyshawn Vaughn. They did their damn thing, man. They were. It wasn't like, oh man, these other guys are gone. Rojo's out and Fournette's out, so the running game's going to be terrible. Like, no, they did some damage, man. They did some things that the Bucs running game. So just because their main guys are not playing, man. The Bucs got some plug and play running backs there, and and they got Tom Brady. So I'm cool. I'm cool at home. Tom Brady at home, man. Just saying. Matt Stafford has what, one? Who has more playoff wins again, George? I'm trying to remember Matt Stafford or Brady. I'm breaking in my head. It's got to be close, right? Oh, wait. It's not close at all.
You want to know what the actual number is?
What's the actual number?
35-1.
Exactly. So I rest my case, Your Honor.
Eso duele mucho. I will say, before we get further into this, I mean, because I'm gonna give my kind of like takes as far as where everything is when we get into each game by game. Familia, we're gonna break down all 4 games and kind of do some DFS talk, but we'll also work in some betting. I'll work in some of that. I mean, obviously Hector just did so
Nico
much
the Mexican will chime in, of course.
Yeah, Nico the Mexican. Well, Nico the Mexican, can you can we raise a cold one to this past weekend, to what almost was? Yeah, can you enlighten the familia?
Well,
because I still hurt for you.
Well, by way of Lake Tahoe, had a 6-game parlay, and I forget where they are because there's so many of them. But of course, I had all the teams, and then I bet the over/under, which it always kills me. And I had the Ram game at over 49.
49 and a half.
49 and a half. And I would have won 800. So I hedged at 200 because I sat there and I go, I'm going to have to do that. So
bet the under.
Over 50,
but you had hit the first 5. It was a 6-leg parlay. You hit the first 5.
Right. Hit the first 5. So I just did that game.
All you needed was a Rams game to go
34
over.
to 1 odds. $25 to win $855. So that was just like watching that game, and it's kind of like, what do you do? So, but that was very exciting, and and it's funny, if they would have made that 1-2 point conversion that they did not, that would have been 50, and that would have made the difference. But the odds makers, they're wizards in witchcraft. It's done because they know exactly what the amount's going to be.
Yeah, man.
Son brujos.
I always say Vegas knows, man. They do.
No, but it'll be fun. It'll be good to see what happens this week. I like the input, Hector. I don't agree with Hector, but
that's cool.
that's why we're here.
That's why I generally don't bet sports, because I'm usually wrong. So
right. Well, no. I mean, you were right for a long time. The thing is, we rotate being right. It's just a matter of who's right this week. So
right, exactly. Whose turn is it to be right this week?
I will say that on that game, when it came down to that game, I didn't really have a feel. I didn't think the Rams were going to blow out the Cardinals. In fact, I thought the Cardinals could win that game because of the way they played. But man, you could really tell they really missed DeAndre Hopkins.
They were not prepared, man. They were not prepared at all.
And the Rams were just, they were just on fire. Their D line was just caliente. It was, as a Ram fan, it was special to watch. It was just so much fun and special to watch. But man, I thought it was going to be like 30-24 or something like that. But yeah.
Do you have
and I even told Nico that was going.
Where's your Ram shirt, George? I need to see a Ram shirt on you. You know what?
If they win, if they win, when we're on next week, I'll wear a Ram shirt for the NFC Championship
There you go.
game.
Boom. You got to have your Ram gear, man.
Yeah. Usually I like to wear just black, but no, next week I'll wear a Ram shirt.
You got to represent.
On Monday, I was wearing my Gurley Man shirt. Remember that one?
That's right, the Gurley Man. Yes.
Todd Gurley. Yeah. R.I.P. to his career. Salud.
Yeah,
thank you for 2017, 2018, Mr. Gurley. But we got one bit of cheese, man. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, Maddie Daddy, muchas gracias. That is the hardest man working in the fantasy industry. My brother Matty Daddy. I mean, he's got by the way, not only is he one of the hardest working guy he is James Brown when it comes to fantasy content. I mean, he puts out like 3 videos to R1, but on top of that, he also has a WWE wrestling podcast where he does some look back on some of the guys. Remember when we did that show? Talking about yes, there's some. Let's just say that I've done a lot of Macho Man on there, and Matty Daddy, salud, brother.
Hey, so Matty Daddy's running that. I just wanted to hit on a quick memory, George. If you remember that LA Sports Arena, what was it called? Super Slam or Summer Slam,
yes.
Whatever it was back in the days. Hulk Hogan, Brutus the Barber Beefcake at the Sports Arena, and Brutus Beefcake had the Hulkster in the sleeper hold. And it's to raise the arm up and then. Sorry.
Who says you can't get hurt in wrestling?
I know that was like WWE. That was like a reeler right there. Like raise the arm up, and then the referee like raises his arm up, and then it drops. And the referee raises his arm up, and then it stays. And then the tension, and the Hulkster's coming back out of his sleep, and the Hulkster wakes back up, and he's pounding on Brutus Beefcake, and then he wins. And I was like 12, and it was like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. So Matty Daddy, WWF, that's what it was called back, in about 1984 at, whatever it was, Super Slam or whatever. But Brutus Beefcake, Hulk Hogan, LA Sports Arena, that was fantastic. And you and I, George and Kyle, we were there, and that was a blast.
One of the great nights, one of the absolute great nights, and just oh god, I mean, I was like
so fun.
I think I was 17. You and Kyle were 12, and it was
it was 84. I was 84. I was 9.
You were 11.
No, 11.
No, you
were
were
11.
Yeah, math hurts sometimes.
I was just a baby. Oh no, I'm doing math. I'm backwards. Okay, that's.
I was told there would be no math.
Benjamin Brat. Matty Daddy. Oh, peace, brother. Peace. Gracias for joining us. So one bit of cheese man before we get into it. So let's get into some cheese man.
Cheese man.
So, this is the season of the coaching searches and everything. And we talked about the coaching searches last week with all of the guys, all the coaches that got let go. And so many people are talking about. But one of the interesting things, and I just kind of wanted to go around the room a little bit, Mike Mayock got let go, the GM of the Raiders, after they went to the playoffs.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he got let go. Huh. So I'm kind of curious, Familia, what do Rich Bisaccia is so popular with the players. Derek Carr came out and said he deserves to be back. He wants him to be the coach, that no coach he'd ever had the pulse of everybody in the locker room better than Bisaccia. But with the new GM, does he clean house and bring in his own coach? Does he keep Bisaccia? And then it's kind of like he brings in his own coach if Bisaccia doesn't make the playoffs. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think happens?
I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They did. Under the circumstances, the Raiders were not expected to do anything. After Gruden left, so for Bisaccia to take the Raiders, this far even was like, whoa. So I say, especially if the team's on board, because it's not always, plug and play with the head coach. Sometimes you bring in a head coach and they clash with the players. Something just doesn't work out right. And then you have like a mutiny and stuff. It's just like, it's very difficult to find a coach. Right.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, exactly. It's not easy to find a coach that will gel with your players, in that kind of way, that Derek Carr, the team general, the general on the team, the way he expressed it. You know what I'm saying? So if Bisaccia is that guy and the team already respects him and has already bought into him, why would you change that? I think, in my opinion, that's just stupid. I mean, that's easy going for the GM. Like, oh, cool, I already have a coach that, first of all, was successful in his tenure there as the head coach, right? He did well as the head coach. The players like him. Things are looking up. So I say keep him. I can't imagine they could get rid of him.
How about you, Nico?
Well, I mean, I think one thing is football's changed a lot. So it's as much Hollywood as it is players and winning and all that. So they're going to want a coach that can handle Vegas and everything that goes on. The players that come through Raiders are different than any other players. And I know they liked him, but I can't think of any coach that filled in that ever was very successful. Nothing stands out in my mind, So, I mean, sure they like him, but I mean, I think that after Gruden, Carr was able to do what he wanted to do. So I think, that makes him happy. But in the long term, what's going to happen, especially if you're going to get a new GM, the GM and the coach got to get along. So I think there's a lot of stuff to do there. So
I sometimes that's the thing I do wonder, if like the GM doesn't have a relationship with Bisaccia, does he just say, okay, you know what? Do you stay? It's so interesting. That's actually a fascinating situation because
but that's the behind the scenes stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because the team owner, Mark Davis, he's obviously, I think those kinds of conversations happen before you bring the GM on. You know what I'm saying? Because if Mark Davis, the owner, is already leaning to keeping Bisaccia, which he has every right to say, I want to keep this coach, he can then tell the GM, which again, we're not privy to those conversations. It's like, hey, I'm bringing you on, GM. I want to keep Bisaccia. What do you think? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's not the GM's call, right? It's the owner's call. The owner is the one that's pulling those strings. Like, you're my coach, you're my GM. Like, this is the way I want things to roll, right? I mean, the GM doesn't have the power to fire Bisaccia. If Mark Davis wants to keep Bisaccia, he's going to keep him, right? The GM's not going to be like, sorry, Mark Davis, I'm firing the guy. Like, I can't imagine that's how that works.
Unless that's a condition of the GM getting hired, where he says, I'm bringing in my own guy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's the part that we don't know yet. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Is like we're not privy to those behind closed doors conversations. Like, how did that go? Once the Raiders brought on this new GM, what was that conversation like? Well, what do we do about Bisaccia? I'm bringing you on as a GM. What do we do about the head coach? And I'm sure that was discussed. I'm sure that's not going to be like a big surprise. That's been thoroughly discussed and completed. So it's just a matter of time before like the public, and the fans hear about what's going on. Probably after the Super Bowl, right? I'm sure they're not going to start talking about that stuff right now, right?
That's the thing. GM search is
going to be there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was that mean, Nico?
And what's to say Carr's going to be there? They talked about getting rid of him because he couldn't get him through the playoffs. And finally did, but then of course they lose. So, I mean, again, if you want to be a winning team, what's your true formula? And again, everyone doesn't fly into Dallas. That's not America's team anymore. They all fly into Vegas. And as you know, before the Raiders even got there, they traveled probably better than any team in the country. Raider fans are everywhere. So
yeah,
that's the new America's team right there.
Yeah.
That's great. Though I will say, after seeing how many Pittsburgh fans were at SoFi Stadium when they played the Chargers, Steeler fans, they bring it strong.
But that's every game. You know what I'm saying? Like, poor Justin Herbert. Yeah, you bring up a great point, George. Every time that Herbert was home, he was doing that because he couldn't hear. Because remember, how many years has it been? How many years have LA, Angelinos, which were the Great American Melting Pot here in LA? We got everybody. I mean, we got all the fans from all those other states that that are transplants that live in LA. We haven't had an NFL team, so they haven't been able to see any of these guys, Big Ben or Brady or any of these guys. They have not been able to see them in LA. So once all these teams had a game at LA and with Stafford and Herbert playing home games, the Steeler fans, the Patriot fans, the You know, the Bucks fans, they just filled the damn place up. It was nuts. And all the season ticket holders, like Ricky, were like, here, $5,000. Like, who wants it? And then they're like begging, like, me. I don't, you know, here's my third child. Like, give me the seats. I don't care. So that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? I think it'll, obviously the next couple of years, it'll kind of start like tapering off. But Angelinos have not had football for their homer teams out there. And now they finally did it. And all the season ticket holders are like, how much? And they're like, I don't care. You know, so I mean, they cashed out. And of course, like you said, all the visitors filled up the stadium. So
yeah, it's that one. I think with Justin Herbert, if he becomes as good as I think we all think he's going to become, which I think is he's going to be in that top 5 conversation with with Mahomes, with Josh Allen for the next 10, 15 years. And I think it's going to be special. It's going to be special.
Look at like Dan Marino out there, man. That release is like a split second, like lasers. Like, wow. Herbert's impressive.
I know. I was really wishing that we saw Justin Herbert against Mahomes for the third time instead of the Raiders, instead of the Steelers. So,
it was good to see.
Familia,
say goodbye to Ben, though. That was nice, you know.
And that was cool.
I feel like we've been saying bye to Ben for like a month. You know, it's like the final home game, then the final road game against Baltimore.
The Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the farewell tour, the Big Ben farewell tour, like Kareem when they would give him, other teams would give him like a motorcycle and stuff like before the game started.
Yeah, at Baltimore they must have given him like a piece of a goalpost or the dirt, and it's like, oh, this is where you fell about 100 times, you know, after after you got sacked by Ray Lewis.
So, exactly.
The funny thing is they never, Ben hasn't said he's leaving. They're all like, we think it's his last season, so this is probably his last game. It's like he didn't get a chance to celebrate anywhere. You know, he's done. Or is he going to say, no, I'm not retiring? I'm like, oh, that's so sad. You know, that's
it was the same way with Drew Brees last year. He didn't say anything at leaving the game. In fact, Big Ben, just kept saying more stuff. He never said I'm retiring, but he said, oh, I feel like this is the last time I'm going to be here and stuff like that. But but last year it took like a month and a half, and it was like after the Super Bowl where Drew Brees finally said, okay, I'm out. Peace. I'm retiring. I'm going to go to the NBC booth. So.
Man.
We'll see. It'll be fine. There's no rush. The interesting thing is going to be, and that's going to be one of our offseason topics to talk about, is what does Pittsburgh do at the quarterback position? Because I don't think it's Mason Rudolph, but I think it's becoming more and more clear that Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson are going to stay put. And it's like, do they make a trade for Deshaun Watson? Do they trade down for? It's going to be interesting, but lots to talk about. I don't want to get into the intrigue because that drives me nuts. I just want to react to when it happens instead of, make all these broad proclamations and then all of a sudden it doesn't come true. So
right, yeah. We're going to spend some money. Let's do it. Let's tell them what to do.
Let's talk about some DFS for this weekend. So, Familia, this is going to be the Draftkings dollars. Everything, all the dollar amounts that you see are Draftkings. So we're talking about the entire slate, the four games over the 2 days. So, Familia, you have the chance. This is a great weekend to play DFS. You can play all 4 games. You could play 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. You could play all 4 games in the Captain Showdown. You could just have fun. Play the flash draft. The Familia flash draft has been very, very good to me lately. So let's just say I got a little house money going on with the flash draft. I'm playing, low stakes, but yeah, it's happening. So I think I'll be able to put some bets on the Super Bowl without having to add to my DK account. So we're going to start with we talked about it. This is a great weekend. Every matchup is a great weekend. Bengals at Titans. I think this is one of those games that's kind of like a contrast in styles a little bit, because the Bengals, they're a great offense, great passing offense, great rushing offense. The Titans are kind of middle of the road, not always that great against quarterback against the passing game. They're great against the running game, so to me, I think, does Joe Burrow get unleashed like he was against Kansas City, against Baltimore?
Yes.
Dígame, primo. Dígame.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, once you said the Titans are not such a great defense against the pass, and they're playing against who? Joe Burrow, the guy that threw for like 1,000,000 yards the other day. Like what? Like what's the question? And that's why I'm leaning to the Bengals. If once you tell me that the Titans defense is subpar against the pass, what else is there to say? I mean, the Bengals have how many receivers? Uzoma, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Joe Mixon can even come out of the backfield and catch balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that they can pass to. And the Titans are not good against the pass. And the quarterback's Joe Burrow that's passing that pass. I don't know. I just can't. I just don't see. I don't see the Titans stopping that. Burrow he's on absolute fire right now. Remember in like NBA Jam when like you would hit like, you know, 2 3-pointers in a row. Then after that, you're on fire. Then whenever you made one, like the net would explode and like burst into flames. That's what Joe Burrow is right now. Like he's on. It's ridiculous. Like look what he's been doing the last few weeks. Yeah, sure. That massive monster game that he had a couple weeks back was against like, you know, a pretty crappy defense, but still, he's just dropping dimes. I mean, those passes are like just perfect, right in the basket, you know, right in between the numbers. Like he's throwing laser beams, like super accurate. Their guys are running like these awesome routes. Everything's just clicking right now for the Bengals. They are scary as hell. And like I said, once you said the Titans' pass defense is not that good, I don't know. I just don't see how a not that good defense can be a bad thing for Joe Burrow. I don't see.
Yeah, I mean the Titans got beat up for 300-yard games by Davis Mills. They weren't trying that hard that day. Actually, they were trying that hard because they needed to win to secure the home field advantage.
And Davis Mills compared to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, still gave up 300 yards. Jimmy G threw for 300 yards against them, though probably about 150 of that was, Deebo Samuel getting plenty of yak.
After catch. But the Bengals can do that too. The Bengals get their yak yards too, yards after catch. So, I mean, the
Bengals hit you every way. The Bengals hit you every way.
That's what I'm saying is they're going to have the Titans, with their heads spinning around. So, I don't know. That's why I like the Bengals plus 3.5. I mean, geez, I don't know.
6,600 at 6,600, Burrow's a good call. The one thing that I do have a little bit of worry for Burrow is that the Titans have a very good pass rush, and the Bengals have gotten a little bit injured on the offensive line, so they don't have all their they don't have their starting five there, and that wasn't like one of their strong points. They were good. They weren't great there, like we've seen from Green Bay and from San Francisco and those teams. But that to me is going to be the great equalizer if the Titans can get home with the pass rush. Joe Mixon, I'm fading at 6,600. I'm fading him in this week. I like Jamar Chase at 7,100. I love T. Higgins at 5,700. I think he's due to have a big game. I think he's really due for a big game.
Way overdue. He's way overdue.
I was thinking of double team Chase. Chase was just, there's a lot of blown coverages, so maybe that's easy when you're wide open to go get some touchdowns, but he knew he was doing the right.
You double one guy, that's plug and play. You double one guy, and then this who's up? Who's the next guy up? Boom, find him. Done.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if there's good offensive calls or what, but it'll be interesting. Even the tight end, Uzama, am I saying right?
Yeah. He had himself.
Fire. I mean, it's like Burrow. He threw it all around. It's just like wow, he's like a seasoned quarterback. I said the rookies really weren't doing well, but Burrow, he's the one.
Well, he's not a rookie. He's a playoff rookie, but he's not
first time in.
First time.
Ben was the exception because he was seasoned, but he didn't have the team. But anyone who wasn't really supposed to be there or was too new didn't seem to kind of work itself out real easy. But Cincinnati, I don't know this one. I mean, I forgot about the Titans. They said remember the Titans, but I forgot. And so I'm trying to figure out who to go with. So. I want to say Titans, but what Heck's saying on the Cincinnati, I think is true. And you got to play with the rhythm. What's going on. I mean,
the beat of the rhythm of the night, like the El DeBarge, man.
That's right, baby. Yeah. That's right.
Video games, El DeBarge. How old are you? Where's your flip phone?
I know, right?
No. He had the brick.
Yeah, it was a brick. Brick.
Had the brick that you put in the car, or the car the car phone that Sonny Crockett had in his
in his Ferrari, in his Daytona Spider.
Well, you know what?
By Angel Flights, yes.
So let's go over to the Titans. So we got, yes, we're not going to talk about Tannehill just yet, the quarterback, because I think the big thing to talk about is King Henry, Derrick Henry.
Is he playing?
He's practicing. He's been activated off the IR. He's practicing.
He's not going to be full power.
They made him available to the media, which I was listening to one of the reporters that covers that is embedded that one of the beat reporters that covers the actually covers it for one of the TV. It covers one of the TV stations. She was saying if they wouldn't have, they made him available to the media. If he was not playing, they would have not made him available to the media. So I think he plays. It's a matter of how much. Heck, you kind of intimated a little bit of that. Is he going to be full power?
No way.
Let's say you get 15 rushes out of him, and then maybe about another dozen out of Deonta Foreman. Could you get and the Bengals have a very good rush defense, but they get a couple of their defensive tackles have gotten hurt, so maybe they're not going to be as strong up the middle in the run, in the running game. I don't know if I'm paying $7,500 for Derrick Henry because I don't think he's going to be full power. But it's actually, who I am tempted to pay for?
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones, yeah, he's practicing. I do like our Arthur Juan Brown. His middle name is Brown, right? AJ Brown's middle name is Juan.
No way.
Yes, so he's an honorary Mexican.
Like Juan? Juan?
Juan. Yeah,
nice.
I wish it was Arturo Juan.
AJ, what's the A?
Arthur.
Cool.
But to us, he's so now we have two Mexicans. We have Arthur Juan Brown and Gronk because he's Soy Fiesta. Our honorary Mexicans on the fantasy side.
Yeah, I'll go up to the highway.
But I will say,
you forgot Julio.
For Julio, exactly, Julio Jones.
Don Julio. Don Julio.
Well, you know what, and that's the interesting thing because the Bengals, they do have a good rush defense, but they've been tough again. They've been getting beat up a little bit by the quarterbacks and the passing game. So maybe Tannehill breaks loose a little bit at home. Weather's not expected to be an issue. It's going to be cold, but there's no wind. It's going to be cold in the mid 30s, 36 degrees and clear. So, I mean, there could be this could end up being, this could be a sneaky shootout if Tannehill decides to throw the ball. But I don't know if I will say Tennessee at 3.5. I'm tempted to take the Bengals and have this be a field goal game.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Bengals plus 3.5.
Let me ask you guys something because there's always a strategy, or at least I think so. Do you guys go big names up front and you just pick up a couple straggler wide receivers, or you guys go down the middle? What's your strategy most of the time?
For DFS, load it up top heavy
get
and
your
then
studs.
Just squeeze it out. Yeah, you gotta get your studs in there, man.
Okay.
Get your studs.
Load up. Top heavy, man. You got to go top heavy with DFS.
Yeah, I've gone light on a quarterback thinking maybe they'll do it and then they'll win the big money. But it seems like if I get a 4-tiered quarterback, they never do anything like that. My running backs that I pick, which I thought were guaranteed, don't do anything. Because I think it's easier to depend on a running back than it is a wide receiver. But, again, everyone has their own ideas on how they do it. That's kind of mine, but as you can see, I make no money, so that's not a good.
Well, I will say there's stacking options with both of these quarterbacks because Burrow is not the most expensive quarterback. Mahomes and Allen are going to have that honor. Burrow is actually like the 4th or 5th most expensive, and you could actually pair him, stack him with Jamar Chase, who's at 7,100, or you pay down, go to T Higgins at 5,700 and spend some money elsewhere because there are some guys to spend up for on the slate. The other side, you got Tannehill at 5,800. If you believe that this is going to be a game where they're going to be throwing the ball against that Bengal defense that can be beat, number 25 against wide receivers, number 24 against quarterbacks since week 13. So that's the thing to kind of think about. Maybe Tannehill and AJ Brown. That's $12,000 total in this kind of in a small slate. that's definitely something to think about, something to consider. So,
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
it leaves you options to pay up for a Deebo Samuel or a Cooper Kupp, one of those guys.
Or Dawson
It's
Knox. That's my
Dawson
pick.
Knox.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dawson Knox. We'll talk about that. Yeah, and a Hill or a Kelsey or one of those guys.
Mhm.
But let's go over to one of the games that has so much intrigue from so many angles. You got the 49ers at the Packers. The Packers are 6-point favorites, 47-point over under. It's gonna be cold, Familia. 13 degrees. That's too cold for Mexicans.
Yeah, no.
So eso está frío, muy frío.
Yeah,
So
you're gonna have those crazy kids with their shirts off, wearing all green, and then they
yeah,
go
painted
home.
green. They're painted their chest green.
Yeah, but it's a thick green, keeps them warm.
Yeah, exactly. All that cheese, all that cheese is kind of lining things up.
It's a felt tip marker, so felt is warm.
Cholesterol is a warming agent, so that's why all that cheese in there kind of helps them out. So
yeah.
So I look at this game. So let's start with the 49ers. So we got the sub-freezing temperatures. We got Jimmy G dealing with the thumb, dealing with an injured shoulder. That gives me fire alarms a little bit. And plus, on their defensive side, Nico, you and I were talking about this earlier today. Bosa is not 100% that he's going to be in. He's in the concussion protocol. Fred Warner, in the All-Pro middle linebacker, he is dealing with an ankle injury. So, the 49ers, they could be too banged up to actually
to compete.
Or maybe we mix in Trey Lance here and there for some plays, but. Ooh, I mean, this
Green Bay -6, man. You got to take that. They win by a touchdown easily. That's Green Bay.
As good as the 49ers looked last week. I mean, they're
well, you're saying they're missing some important pieces. Jimmy G, an injured hand in 13-degree weather. That's a bad combination. The wind chill is going to take it down to right around 0. I mean, if his hand's already jacked up, he's going to have like a glove on it, like a full glove, like Drew Brees, like full on glove. He's done. There's no feel there. There's no, how's he going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have zero confidence. You put a glove on that hand and he's in big trouble.
Yeah. I think these games this 47 is a lot of points for that weather. And I think these teams where they think they're supposed to go really high in points, where the conditions and the defense is competitive, they've all gone under, with the exception of the Bills. But I mean, they're like Eskimos out in the Buffalo. It's cold, and they live in the cold. So I just think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think it's going to be a lot of running. And you're going to see a lot of the jet sweeps with
Debo.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean,
he can break a couple big ones. Debo is going to be running. Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. I mean, those guys are just those. I mean, there's going to be. There's going to be a lot of running, but there's also going to be a lot of running touchdowns. So that bodes well maybe for the over. So something to think about. There could be 5 rushing touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati's probably going to do a lot of jet sweeps. I saw them doing that with a lot of success. I think that may help them out in that game as with the Niners in this one. Yeah. But again, they've been doing it for so long. They got a lot of film on it. So I think they, which is also known as tape, which is also known as.
Well, when it comes to the 49ers, I think this is going to be that battle up front. I mean, people have been talking about how the Packers aren't very good against the run. Well, I did a little looking. Since week 12, they've allowed one running back to go over 55 rushing yards, and that was Nick Chubb for 126 yards. So they've been good against the run. They're getting healthier on defense. No, I'm talking about the Packers.
Oh, the Packers, sorry.
The Packers going in. So you got Elijah Mitchell. He's got 6 games in a row where six of his games in a row where he's gone over 20 carries. So this could be, just kind of like, Clash of the Titans, where it's strength against strength. I think that's going to be one of the great battles. Mitchell at 5,800 is interesting. The 49ers have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Trent Williams is an all-pro left tackle. They've just got, I think Nico, you're right. I think there's going to be a lot of running. I think Mitchell and Samuel are both good plays. I think I may fade, Brandon Ayuk, even though I like his price tag of 5,200. I just don't think he's going to get enough.
Right.
Jawan Jennings at 3,400 is interesting because he seems to get a lot of play at on third down, on important plays. But again, in the cold, I think it's going to be a running game. On the other side, on the Packers side, you got Rodgers, who's 0-3 against San Francisco in his playoff career. Yeah. So does he break the streak this week? It's a 6-point favorite. I'm tempted to go take the 49ers plus the points, but I think the Packers will win. And this is another one that it's a great offensive line for the Packers against a great San Francisco pass rush if they have Bosa healthy.
Right.
We talked about that, and it's a great offensive line both against the pass rush and they're great against the run too. So Jones and Dillon, it's another matchup where it's kind of like iron against iron. It's awesome. This is like the Hulk and Thanos fighting. So I love that. I love that. You got 6,800. I mean, I liked AJ Dillon at 5,100.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I see him get maybe 2 touchdowns, couple
I could see that.
red zone scores, a couple goal line scores. Dillon just pounds it in, man. So yeah,
I like 5,100.
I like Dillon a lot.
Kittle. For those of you guys who follow the 49ers, Kittle does well every other game. It's like he's slow, then he kills it, then he's slow, then he kills it. He was kind of shut down. They didn't even use him. He was wide open so many times. They didn't pass it to him. So I don't know what happened. But Kittle is going to blow up in this game. I'm telling you. It's every other game. So that's my 2 cents right there.
At 5,300, that's a good deal.
5,300, and the Packers since week 13, they're number 28 against the tight end. They're giving up some yardage there, so Nico, that's a very I like that play. I like that talk.
That's a good play.
And no matter who the quarterback is, Jimmy or Trey, it's going to be basically Kittle down the middle, right?
Yeah,
you heard that first. That's right.
I think I forget which one. I think they might have said that once during the broadcast last Sunday.
It was Eli, or not Eli. It was was it Eli?
Peyton?
It was on the Manning show, and they said Kittle in the middle.
Manning cast.
Why would
Kittle over the middle. They say Kittle over the middle.
Kittle over the middle, but it's Kittle
I've
down
heard that.
the middle, so that's okay. I'll share.
So considering that there are some good cheap options, I think Rodgers is expected to be the MVP of the league for the second year in a row. He's 7,100 this week.
Wow.
How tempted are you to play him? I mean, he has that just incredible connection with Devontae Adams, and we've seen them play, ball out no matter what the weather is. Devontae Adams 8,500. Any takers for him there? Or are we just going off the running backs?
You stack them. Rodgers Adams is a stack.
I don't think so. I think the Niners have their number in the playoffs. So I don't.
Nobody has Devontae Adams' number, man. That guy just scores that well. Rodgers and Devontae Adams, they have they do something that I don't think any other team does. I mean, those guys are so in tune with each other. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think Chris Collinsworth on the broadcast, he'll mention it. He's like, this is I've heard him say it on multiple broadcasts when the Packers have played, when he's called their games. He's like, look at this pass. This is an impossible pass to defend. Because Devontae Adams won't turn around and catch the ball until the ball is like almost to him. So Devontae Adams will be running his route. The defender's watching Devontae Adams to see him make a move. Devontae Adams will turn around last minute to make the catch, and the ball is like right there. And the defender's like, what just happened? Because he was waiting for Devontae to make a move to like turn. By the time the defender notices Devontae Adams move, by the time the defender turns around, Devontae Adams already caught the ball. So that's
in stride.
And they're perfectly thrown ball. And Collins is like, he's like, no one does this. He's like, there's nobody in the NFL that does this. These two guys do this, and they do it all the time. And this is a pass. This pass is impossible. He didn't say difficult. He didn't say challenging. He said this pass is impossible to defend.
Well, you know what's funny? Rodgers. Have you seen him throw those passes? It's the way we throw Nerf footballs. Just kind of like, and it's just right. And you never started to do that. was Derek Carr. He does that little flip, like the little floater, like behind the trunk of the car, around the curb.
Yeah.
At the driveway. It's just
but Rodgers is a master at that. I mean, it's like he just throws, and it doesn't matter what the weather is. He just flicks it, and there the ball goes 50 yards.
He throws a dart. I mean, it cuts aerodynamics. It cuts through the wind. The cold weather, the wind. It doesn't affect his ball. His ball, he throws laser beams right to the target. Devontae always catches it. It's ridiculous. So yeah, to me, Rodgers and Devontae, that's a nice little stack right there. And if you can afford Kittle on top of that, I think that's a nice play. You stack those three guys.
I like the Packers this game, but I got to take the Niners in a bet to you guys 6-pack. I think because I have to. My Niners at home. I gotta support them. So
yeah, I do like the underdogs on Saturday. It's very good. I think just taking the points, especially having the hook in the Bengals Titans. So I like that. I think the Titans could win a field goal game or maybe even less. So muy interesante.
We'll talk on the next game.
So let's go to Sunday. Vámonos al domingo. Siempre en domingo.
Sunday.
Rams at Buccaneers. So I mean, this is a rematch. Week 3, the Rams just beat up on the Bucs. So it was a game where Matthew Stafford threw for 343 yards and 4 touchdowns. Tom Brady threw for over 400 yards, but 1 touchdown, a couple of interceptions. So, and the Rams beat him 34-24. It's pretty easy. It was at SoFi. This game is going to be in Tampa, thanks to what the 49ers did to the Rams, because the Rams ended up with the number 4 seed instead of the number 2 seed. If they would have held on to that 17-point lead. So this is, we had a clean game from Matthew Stafford. He threw interception free. He was interception free in week 3 against the Bucs. Can we expect that again with the Bucs getting healthier in their secondary, and their defense is starting to really starting to get healthy all together on all levels? Are we going to get the offensive protection that for Stafford that he had last week against a pretty good Cardinals pass rush? So, and does that make you think about spending the $6,200, which is cheaper than Burrow, cheaper than Brady, who we'll talk about in a second? ¿Qué piensan?
I don't know, man. I don't bet against Brady. I already said it.
But there's no weather. But could this be a shootout? And you get Stafford as the cheaper option in a game that's going to be, you got a 62-degree game. It's the only game that's not going to be played at near or sub-freezing temperatures. And the wind is not expected to be an option. Both these quarterbacks have just, machine gun, have howitzers for arms. So we're not worried about it.
Man. I see Stafford. I have on back-to-back games without an interception.
Yes. Remember that game? He threw like 3 interceptions, 1 at the 3-yard line,
Yes.
Kind of like, a Murray duplicate. And just like he kind of froze. It's like this veteran guy. Like, what happened to you?
The data
that was the Baltimore game. That was the Baltimore game.
I believe the data shows that Stafford is going to throw at least 1 interception, right, George? Is that safe to say?
Well, I'm looking before last week where he was clean. These are the interception totals for the previous 4 games: 2, 2, 3, and 1. So those are the interceptions.
Yeah.
So
no. At this level of the playoffs, the defenses are tightening up. He's gonna throw at least 1, and that 1 could end up being a pick 6. So you gotta be careful of that. If he's gonna throw a pick, it could end up worth 6 points for the Bucs. So
they're gonna play Tampa Bay, and it gets loud. I mean, it's so loud that it hurts my Buccaneers. It's so
How much do your ears cost, Nico? A Buccaneer.
A Buccaneer.
Oh God.
So well, let's okay. So but what about Cooper Kupp? Paying up for Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. Oh, 80. Wow,
8,600.
That's too rich.
Most expensive guy on the slate.
That's too rich. I'm going like Mike Evans. I'm going like who else is coming out of
the other side? Mike Evans, $1,800 cheaper at $6,800.
Gronk. Throw Gronk in there. Gronk will get 2 TDs. in that game. I think Brady looks for his homie, man. That's it. They're like homies.
It could be.
Who's the wide receiver for the Rams? What's his name? The rookie, the new kid.
Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson. I mean,
that's a good play.
Going off. That's that.
I would, Cooper Kupp at 8. I mean, 86 is more than double Van Jefferson. I would take Jefferson and Higbee, and that's still less than Cooper Kupp.
Right.
Well,
that's what I would take.
So here's the question. So I got a question for the primos. Cam Akers. We all saw how great he looked on Monday night.
Yeah.
Is he for real? I mean, this is almost a milagro. I feel like Our Lady of Guadalupe, smiled on him and said you will be healed in a 1-year injury in 5 months. He had 18 touches for 95 yards. Looked fantastic. Almost called in another ball that would have been for like a 70-yard touchdown that hit him in the hands. 5,500 for a guy who gets 18 touches. It's against one of the top rushing defenses. The Bucs are a great rushing defense.
It's
Are you tempted? Are you tempted?
It's all matchups. Once you get to this level of the season, it's all about matchups.
Are you tempted to pay down for 5,500 or for Akers?
The Bucs have a great running defense, so that's probably not a smart play.
That's a tough one. I know that's a tough one.
What about OBJ? Dude, he went off. I mean, he's for real now. So
that's the thing. Do they? Yeah. Do the Bucs sell out to go after Kupp, and then leave OBJ
take their
open?
chances on OBJ? Yeah.
It worked out this last time. I mean, Cooper Kupp was basically he was a decoy the whole game. They were double teaming him and wide open.
Week.
Yeah.
I will say last time that these two teams met, Cooper Kupp went for 9 catches, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that is
Bruce Arians though is like Belichick, man. They're gonna scheme against whatever they did last game. They're gonna scheme for all that stuff, man.
Yeah,
so
Todd Bowles.
Yeah,
Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, who's being interviewed for some head coaching openings. We saw last year after they got lit up by Patrick Mahomes during the regular season, what they did to him during the postseason. So, exactly. Do we see a repeat?
And this Bucs defense are the reigning champions, so we got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? You got to temper your expectations a little bit. These Bucs defenders are the current Super Bowl champions. So,
what's the deal with Leonard Fournette? I thought he was out or at least questionable. Now it has him as in. So
he is. I put the number there. He's still questionable. So there's still no question. There's still I would go away from him because I don't think if he's back, I don't think he'll be 100%. So that to me is where I'm a little worried about that. The interesting thing is, the Rams, have given up some yardage in the running game. Definitely got beat up by the 49ers in week 18. Gave up a touchdown to James Conner last week, but they ran out to such an early lead that the Arizona had to stop running. But Tom Brady in this game, I think the big thing that before I play Tom Brady in this game, I'm looking at the health of the offensive line. Tristan Wirfs, Ryan Jensen.
Mm-hmm.
They were both, Wirfs, he injured his ankle. Ryan Jensen got bent backward. But both of them are questionable for this game. I believe both of them did not practice today. So if they're declared in, I'm tempted to play Brady. If they're out, I'm looking at it even at 6,800 cheaper than the other guys. I'm like no gracias, because I think he'll have Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Leonard Floyd in his face all day.
Yeah.
And I will say this is the game where I would bet the Rams on the money line.
Ooh.
Maybe first half. Because Brady's a second half guy. We're losing. Okay, now I'll come out and let's win the game. That type of thing. But I just think the Buccaneers, this is the year of reality. And again, without that offensive line, although even with those guys hurt, he still killed it. So I don't want to do it, but my gut says the Rams are going to win this straight out. I don't know why, but just.
So yeah, I think those injuries that you're mentioning, George, happened last week in the first half. and the Bucs still, they handle their business. So just because those guys are going out doesn't all of a sudden mean that it is the Rams defense. I give you that, but this is still Tom Brady, and they're if those O-line guys are out, the Buccaneers will still figure out a scheme to get that ball out quickly, yards after catch. So I don't necessarily think it's a huge, whether those guys play or not, it's still Tom Brady. They will find a way. It's like Jurassic Park, with what's his name, where he said, life finds a way. So they find a way, man. They find a way. These guys.
And Tom Brady is life. Tom Brady is life.
I just can't believe Cooper Kupp is 86 and Rodgers is 7,100. That's such a big discrepancy between the two.
That's crazy.
I just Kupp. I love him at 71, but not 86. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, he's a guy who could get 10. If he gets 10 catches, 100+ yards, and a touchdown or two, that's worth it.
Yeah,
but then that gobbles up all your DFS cash. You have nobody else. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. To me, that's just way overpriced.
Well, Devontae Adams is 85, so they're putting those two right next to each other. So.
Yeah. Well, speaking of overpriced, this game's got a lot of guys who are. This last game is got a lot of guys that are really pricey. You got the Bills at the Chiefs. Kansas City 2-point favorites. So this is a toss-up game. 54.5 point over/under, which I'm saying over. It's going to be about 39 degrees, clear, light winds. So thankfully, wind, snow, rain not expected to be a problem this weekend. On the Bills side, are we ready to see Josh Allen go nuclear again? Because the Chiefs, remember it was only a few weeks ago they got lit up by Joe Burrow. Granted, that game was in Cincinnati. This game's in Kansas City. Allen was fantastic against them earlier this season. So, I mean,
Buffalo.
Yes, it was.
Right. Yeah. So
was it in Buffalo? I'm looking it up right now. No, it was at Kansas City.
Really?
315 yards, 3 touchdowns, 59 rushing yards, and another touchdown. So just a monster game out of them. The Bills won 38-20. So
I mean, they say that stadium is a pretty tough place to play in. I mean, as loud as it was during a regular season game, I'm just thinking it's going to be twice as loud for a playoff game, and that's definitely going to wreak a little bit of havoc on Josh Allen's offense. But I mean, to put the numbers up that he put up, last game, like you can't really deny that. That's real. At the same time, Patrick Mahomes is at home, so that guy does magical things when he's at home. Last year during the playoffs, he did injure his foot. So, you think, oh, well, last year the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, he lost, et cetera, et cetera. He was not 100%. He was injured. His foot was injured. His mobility was limited. His, to push off, to throw a pass was limited. This year, we ain't got none of that. This year is playoff, perfect Patrick Mahomes. And this is, to your point, I believe the 54.5, they might go over that because this might be like you score, then I score, then you score, then I score, then you score, then I score, and whoever has the ball last going to win. So
I think the punters are going to the punters are going to be very, very bored.
Yeah, they're going to be hanging out.
Holmes is at Holmes.
The punters will be in the locker room, just like drinking chocolatey Yoo-hoo and just like watching the game in there, like with like nothing to do because there ain't even punting in this game.
It was so funny at the Bills game. It was so cold. Instead of Gatorade, which is basically just water and salt, they were giving out chicken soup, and that's what they were drinking, and basically to replace the salt and do that. And
yeah.
Well, the newscaster was like, "Because it's pretty good soup." So I'm assuming it's probably more than just chunky soup or something like that on the side. I thought that was
special soup.
A little Campbell's. I will say one guy who's interesting in this game is Devin Singletary at 5,900. He's a guy who is getting He's
the bell cow now, man. He's the
caballo. 19
at
touches.
5,900. That's a steal at 5,900. You got to put him down.
19 touches
in your lineup, Singletary all day, and then stack up Allen and Diggs, and then Singletary. The three amigos right there. That's a good play right there. Start your lineup with those three guys.
Yeah, and using the Greggy Greg method, I mean, the first thing you look at is the over-under. You want to go to the high-scoring games, see who's there, figure they're the ones, statistically they're going to get more points than anybody else because they're supposed to get more points. So
right, Vegas thinks so.
Yeah, so that's actually I like Singletary at 5,900 on a high scoring game like that.
Mm-hmm,
He was used a lot in the red zone to try to get it in the end zone, so I like that.
I like
So
Hardman too. Mecole Hardman, 3,900. Holy smokes!
kind of
Get him in there.
betting on the
He's
touchdown.
he'll score at least once. I mean, the Chiefs are going to spread the ball around. Hardman's been on Mahomes' radar for several weeks now. That guy's doing some damage. So put him up there. And to have Hardman below Pringle to me is weird. I mean, Pringle, yeah, he's been getting some run lately too, but I think those two guys are almost kind of like interchangeable. And Hardman with a lower amount, I would ride Hardman.
All right.
On the Buffalo, on the Buffalo defense, I mean, they haven't, really faced elite quarterbacks. And I mean, the last time they'd faced an elite quarterback with Tom Brady in Week 14, and he lit them up for 363 yards and 2 touchdowns, and even added a rushing touchdown. So, they've the numbers that we have. I mean, it shows that they're number 7 against. I'm sorry. That they're number 8 against the quarterback, but they haven't met up against too many of the really good ones. I think Mahomes is primed to have himself a big game. The Buffalo Bills had Tre'Davious White last time when they held him to 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions though. So Tre'Davious White, who's one of the best corners in the NFL, now he's out for the season with the torn ACL. I think honestly, this is going to be a fireworks kind of game. Both quarterbacks are going to go nuclear. I think it's which one of you said it's whoever has the ball last. I think it's going to be both quarterbacks are worth spending up for. Mahomes at 73.
Pick up Dawson Knox too. If you can't get you obviously want to get Diggs in there, but if you have a couple extra bucks left and you're trying to figure out who to get as your last receiver, Dawson Knox is a great play at 4,900, man. Yeah, that guy had 2 touchdowns last game. He's had multiple touchdowns. I think he may. I don't know if you can look this up, George. He's had, of all the tight ends this season, he has the most multiple TD games. I mean, every time I look up, it seems like Dawson Knox had 2 TDs. Oh, Dawson Knox 2 TDs. Dawson Knox 2 TDs. Like the last 5 weeks, he has like maybe 6. Yeah, he's had a handful of TDs in the last like 4 or 5 games. He might have like 5 or 6 TDs in like the last 4 or 5 games.
I'm looking what his TD numbers are.
Yeah,
the last few games. He had 2 last week. 1 in week 16 and 1 in week 14. So yeah, four touchdowns in his last 4 games.
Last 3 games, right? 2 then 1 and 1 then 1.
Well, he was out 1 week.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He was
so
out.
His last. Okay, yeah, but that's
4
that's
touchdowns
consistent.
in 4 games.
That's consistent. I mean, he's that's like he obviously Josh Allen is targeting him, so look for him. Again, he had 2 TDs last game, so at 4,900, that's a steal.
Yeah, and the Chiefs, they're giving up. They're number 7 against the tight end right now, but yeah, I mean they're
in a playoff game. It's all just like your guy's gonna get open. Dawson Knox he's a beast. He'll get open.
Now, when you're paying up for Mahomes, are you paying up for either Kelsey or Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill at 6,600 is not expensive. He's $2,000 cheaper.
Is he hurt?
Well, he looked good last week. He didn't miss. He played the full game last week, and
that's a heck of a price, man. For Tyreek Hill, that's a heck of a price. I mean, I think DK is anticipating that it's going to be maybe like an even split between Tyreek and Kelsey. So that's where they're so evenly priced. 66.
Even Kelsey at 6,500 isn't a bad price.
Yeah,
he's the most expensive tight end, but that's because it's a small slate.
Right.
So I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted to do a Mahomes Tyreek Hill.
If I had to fill a tight end spot, I'd take Knox over Kelsey though. If you got a tight end spot, I'm going Knox over Kelsey.
Ooh, yeah. Well, you saved a couple $1,000 or $1,600.
And then give me Tyreek Hill and Dawson Knox.
Ooh.
That's what I'm doing.
I like Tyreek and Kittle down the middle. So
Kittle down the middle. Gotta love it, baby. Gotta love it. Oh man. Well, Primos, you guys got me more fired up than ever.
Baby.
For the biggest weekend of football of the year. Best weekend of football of the year. Familia, I'll be posting an article on familiaffb.com. So please make sure you give that a read. It's been getting my DFS articles have been getting a lot of traction. I've been keeping an eye on that. A lot of people have been reading them. So gracias for checking them out. I'll go into a little more detail than we went into today. But primos, eso es todo for our show. Well, if you haven't, please make sure you like and subscribe us on YouTube, and se lo agradecemos un millón. And also thanks to Anchor for being our hosting network and making sure our independent podcast gets out to the Familia community. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. If you leave us a review, I'd really appreciate that. Again, you can find me on Twitter at Jorge Martin17. Hector, where do they find you?
What the heck? 2 T's.
Make sure to go to Familia FFB on Instagram and Twitter, and also our Familia FFB Facebook page. Our Familia, you guys are all live out there. So otra vez, best of luck, mucha suerte in your DFS lineups and on your bets. I hope we gave you guys some good advice here. Oh my goodness. Someone we got a news bulletin. Kevin Stefanski is getting rid of Baker Mayfield. So muchas gracias, Kevin. Muchas gracias. Suerte. I hope Aaron Rodgers becomes available and he gets out there. It'd be fun to see Cleveland be good. Cleveland would really rock. So
Cleveland rocks.
Otra vez, familia. Mucha suerte, and remember, todos somos familia.
Adiós, amigos.
Bye-bye.
Salud.